Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exclusive interview. I'm here with none other than Matthew Riddle. The man is in the house. Competitor from the Ultimate Fighter 7, for those of you who've been under a rock. And an all-around good guy, right, Matt?
That's right. I think of myself as a pretty nice guy. So, yeah.
Nah, you're a nice guy. Come on now. But, Matt, right off the bat, I want to know, what's it like to live in that house? You got to tell me.
Honestly, a lot of the guys hated it, because you don't have TV, and a lot of them had girlfriends and wives. Personally, it was perfect for me because I just got free food, free booze, and training from the world champion.
You know?
7 weeks. So it was awesome for me.
Good times, right? We had Amir Sadolo in here. We got a chance to talk with Amir, and he said after a few weeks he was getting a little sick of just turning around and seeing dudes everywhere.
Yeah, that's the one thing I didn't think I was gonna miss as much until I didn't have it was girls.
You know,
I miss girls a ton when I was in that house.
it's hard to do without that, no doubt, man. But tell us a little bit about yourself. We know you're from Pennsylvania, and you were chosen obviously as a cast member. And how did that happen? How did it all come about?
Actually, I actually had to go through a lot of stuff because I was trying to get fights, as every fighter starts out, and I couldn't get any fights really. I only got one fight, and I was doing grappling tournaments. And then the gym I was at the Rat Pack in Pennsylvania, and the guy who owned it was like, "Hey, there's Ultimate Fighter 7 tryouts if you want to try that out instead of grappling." I was like, "Well, yeah." I tried out, did grappling, smashed the first guy, did striking, did really well in the mitts, and then they interviewed me. Then they flew me out to Vegas, did a couple more things, more tests like drug tests and blood tests and all that stuff. And then they called me 2 weeks later, and they're like, "How you feel about being a TV star?"
And and obviously we're glad that happened because you had quite the performance in the show. But you have some background in wrestling and jiu-jitsu. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so how would you describe your style if I had to ask you? What's the one thing you've mastered?
One thing I mastered fighting was?
Because obviously to be a good fighter, you have to have a really wide range of a good aspects you can bring to the fight. But
I
what's
think, to be a good fighter, you have to have, a good, solid ground game. You don't have to be the world's best ground guy, but you have to have, a really solid ground game, and I just always thought that was important to have.
Yeah, and you definitely do if you ask me.
Yeah.
That's one of the good aspects you got, no doubt about it. And I gotta ask you, the first fight you had was the one to get on the show, and boy, you certainly left an impression on the coaches and Dana with that. And you faced Dan Simler, and man, it was a sick knockout that you went through. Walk us through that.
Honestly, I knew Dave Simler. He was the only guy I knew previously before the show.
Right.
And, he always kind of, talk smack to me or, kind of grill me, eyeball me at the grappling tournament. And then when Dana White matched us up, because we're from the Northeast, and when they matched us up, I was excited. And, when I knocked him out, I didn't normally feel bad instantly, but because it was that guy, I felt pretty good about it. So,
It was a pretty sick knockout. I mean, Quentin had quite the expression on his face.
In the first round, at the end of the first round, he up-kicked me after the bell rings.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that. I'm like, my next punch, I'm just going to throw it as hard as I can. And I did. It connected on his face and knocked him out pretty good.
How did you feel?
Level 3 concussions.
Well, yeah, it was pretty wild. It was a sick knockout. I gotta tell you that. But how did you feel about? Obviously, that helped you get. You got picked second by Rampage, and how did that make you feel?
And actually, at the time, because honestly, everybody knew who each other was. They've heard about one another. They all have, big pro records. And honestly, I'm 22. Nobody knew who I was. I won a couple grappling tournaments in one fight.
Yeah.
So, and then to be picked second by the world champ, that was pretty sick. I was pretty excited about that.
Absolutely. And can you describe your relationship with Quentin throughout the show? How was he as a coach? Did you like it? What did you learn from him?
I like Rampage more as he's a good training partner, a good friend, As a coach, he's a good coach too. It's just I think because he wasn't trained for a fight and he just didn't coach it as well as he could have. And plus a lot of guys like they lost, then I lost, then whoever lost, Brandon lost, Brandon lost. So it was just like all the guys were losing, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that just kind of killed his morale and kind of gave up halfway and just thought CV was. But CV is a really good fighter. And he probably just thought CV was just going to smash everybody, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. He's one of the best, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And you know, I gotta ask you about his situation right now. What do you make of that?
Rampages.
It's just
honestly, he just, I know he lost his title in like a controversial 5-round fight, and I think some stuff happened with his management, and I think a lot of shit just hit the fan for him, you know?
yeah.
You know, if you go from being the champion, beating Dan Henderson, and beating, like, Chuck Liddell, and being, like, the best, then, I mean, then you lose to Forrest Griffin. Forrest Griffin's really good, but he's not, like, he wasn't known as one of the best fighters like Chuck Liddell, Vanderlist, so, you know, something like that.
Right.
So...
Okay. Well, you know, and we wish Quentin the best. I'm sure he's gonna bounce back from this, just like anything else in life that's come his way. So, no doubt about it. He's.
I just hope, you know, he takes care of what he has to take care of and he gets back in that ring, because that's what he does best.
That's right, and get back to kicking some ass.
I've seen him play basketball. He's atrocious. I mean, I've seen him do a lot of other things. He's not the best at it, but fighting, he's really good at. So,
yeah, that basketball event was quite the thing, huh?
Man, if you were there, it was so sad. like Forrest Griffin is just draining threes on Rampage. And, and when you look at him, you would not think that. You think Rampage would have some, like, street skills and, like, slam dunk or something, but no, nothing.
Well,
he couldn't even shoot.
You know, Forrest looked like he was some kind of a, you know, NBA reject or something that just couldn't get through.
He played in high school. I think he played in, like, junior college. Or
yeah.
On the men's team or something.
Yeah, something like that.
He plays all the time, I think.
Well, you could tell. I mean, the guy was shooting his lights out over there.
He was dropping threes. I think Dana White set that up. Whatever.
You know.